Welcome everyone to this Association of Massage Therapists information session. Thanks for giving up your valuable time to learn more about the AMT Pilot Mentoring Program. As we begin, I'd first like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we each stand, pay respect to elders past and present, and extend that respect to Aboriginal colleagues amongst us. My name is Wendy Winton and I'm currently working with the AMT board to facilitate this pilot mentoring program. My co-host tonight is Rebecca Barnett, the CEO of the AMT, and she'll be moderating the comments and the questions you might key in during this presentation. Hopefully the information presented will answer all your questions, but we will have a few minutes at the end to answer some of them. If we cannot answer you directly, we'll make sure we get back to you. We're quite a large group, so we have you all muted. You can converse using your keyboard and the chat space on the right-hand side of the screen. And stay tuned because we're going to throw in some questions during the presentation. As you can see from the agenda, we'll be explaining a little about mentoring generally, about this AMT pilot mentoring program in particular, what are the benefits to you as either a mentor or mentee, and indeed the benefits to the AMT and the massage therapy profession. You'll probably be very interested in the level of commitment you would be making, how much time and for how long. And we hope you'll be interested in finding out what is the next step. And even if after this session you decide that mentoring is not for you at this time, this will be time well spent. We do thank those of you who've already started exploring the platform. The AMT knows that early in your career as a massage therapist, you encounter a range of questions and concerns. Some of these get in the way of your success in the industry. So as you can see here, the AMT program aims to assist early career massage therapists with your personal development, your business development, and improved understanding of that broader practice of massage therapy. The aim is to support massage therapists as they adjust to and navigate their new career, to provide mentors with an opportunity to grow their own skills and attributes and give back to the profession, and to encourage and support each massage therapist to achieve to their full potential. This is a pilot program which we hope will be the forerunner to a larger group of participants in 2019. I'm not sure if you've had a mentoring experience previously, perhaps when you were studying or in a previous work situation, even in your personal life. You may have been a mentor. This might have actually been an informal or a formal arrangement. You may have had a positive experience, or you might have found it rather less than useful. The results usually are dependent on who, what and why the mentoring is happening. And there are lots of ways for mismatches to happen, and there are lots of very positive experiences to learn from as well. So here's our first opportunity for you to join in the conversation. I want you to think back to a time when you have been mentored by someone else, whether it's formally or informally. And I want you to indicate for me, just by clicking on the right response, whether you think that was a successful experience, whether it wasn't very successful, or whether you don't know because you've never really been mentored. If you've been in a couple of different mentoring relationships, you might give me a sort of generalised view about how it's been overall for you. I'll give you a couple of minutes just to keep answering because I can't believe that it's exactly 50-50. Ooh. Yes, Beck.
Cut in and let you know there's a couple of people who are having issues with their sound. So if the poll runs a little bit, for a minute or two, that's probably going to give a few people time to get their sound sorted out.
Okay, then. I'll leave it up and I'll come back to it in a moment. That might be the best way to go.
Okay, thanks, Wendy.
I wonder what we think mentoring actually is. According to David Clutterbuck, he suggests that mentors help someone who's less experienced gain in confidence, clearer purpose, insight and wisdom. I think you've got to be aware, though, the less experienced isn't totally ignorant. They bring knowledge and skills and attributes to the table as well. So mentoring is actually an exchange of knowledge and experience and goodwill. I personally believe that no mentoring relationship is just one way. At very least, mentors gain a greater understanding of their own self, their own ways of thinking and working as they explore issues with their mentee. And in this mentoring program, you're probably not going to gain those sorts of hard skills or competencies like effleurage or cross-fibre friction or topotements. As you gain confidence and clearer purpose and insight and wisdom, those things that Clutterbuck suggests, your decision-making, your planning, your sense of progressing at a satisfactory speed in your career will improve as a result. This is one of my favourite definitions of mentoring: a bubble of concentrated conversational energy in the soup of a working environment. I think it's a lovely picture of that sort of excitement that can take you out of, the humdrum of the everyday. I'm just going to end that poll and see how successful we've been in the past. Okay, now that's very interesting. So we think that of the people who've been mentored, the people who are sitting with us today, about half of you actually think that you've had a successful mentoring relationship. So that's fantastic. And quite a significant proportion of people haven't been in a mentoring relationship at all. So it'll be good for you to find out a little bit more about what mentoring is all about. Mentoring is not usually, I know that many of you will be working independently, but mentoring doesn't usually work well when done with your supervisor. You shouldn't expect any fiscal or extrinsic reward from mentoring. You may well explore your career options, but this won't guarantee a change. All your problems, unfortunately, won't just go away. And your mentor is not a trained counsellor, and nor will your mentor train you, as in educate you. Good mentors do not tell you what to do. They help you to explore your options. Some organisations have programs of induction that develop personal, professional, practical knowledge. It lets people know how we do things around here. Mentoring, by contrast, goes beyond this specific focus. Coaching and mentoring are often confused, and the definition between them can be blurred. Mentoring tends to have a long-term focus, and it's aimed at broadening the mentee's perspectives and extending that person's horizons. Coaching tends to be shorter term. It addresses skills, knowledge, behaviours, usually relevant to the current role or the current performance. If you think sport coaching, you probably get the idea. There are times in a mentoring relationship when you do discuss skills and behaviours, but usually as a component of a much broader perspective. So the benefits of mentoring have been identified across a range of programs, and you can see the sorts of things that have been identified as of benefit to mentees and of benefit for mentors. You might want to have a look there in whichever column you think you're going to sit. We envisage that for AMT members who wish to be mentored, this would be a great opportunity to grow professionally as you spend quality time and share mutual interests with someone with greater experience in business. One-to-one support from a trusted colleague will provide you with objective feedback on your development in the industry and an opportunity to explore personal challenges in your career. The AMT program will allocate 70 CEUs for satisfactory completion of the pilot. You do need to be a student, nearly finished your training, or in the first 3 years of your career to apply to be a mentee in this program. For those of you who are ready and willing to be a mentor, connecting with your mentee, facilitating their career growth and development, and sharing from your own experience will sharpen your communication skills, it'll assist you in your own learning, and overall it'll aid in the creation of higher standards in our industry. You can have the satisfaction of knowing that you've made a difference. Mentoring is a great way to network and grow your professional community. And again, for you, 70 CEUs for satisfactory completion of this pilot program. We anticipate that mentors will have at least 5 years' experience as a massage therapist. And for the association, AMT wishes to support early career massage therapists as they transition into the industry. We see the value of finding that personal reflective space away from the busyness of work, a conversational space which stimulates your thinking, helps you develop clearer insights into your questions and your issues and your plans. We think our mentors are pivotal in building a culture of organisational trust and excellence. And the AMT benefits when you are confident of having a long career as a massage therapist. And so our tagline for this program is sharing, encouraging, influencing, building potential in the profession. I wonder if you're thinking, if you've sort of decided which you're interested in doing. Are you interested in being a mentee, or are you interested in being a mentor? You can just indicate that on the right-hand side of your screen for me as well. And I'll leave that one up for a couple of moments as well. So AMT is working with the assistance of an organisation called The Art of Mentoring, AOM, utilising their online platform and their resources. And we're starting with a pilot of around 20 pairs, 20 mentoring pairs, with the vision to offer this program to a wider group of participants following some reflection on the outcome of the pilot. The pilot will run for about 6 months. Art of Mentoring has developed excellent training modules for both mentors and mentees as an introduction to mentoring. We've made it a prerequisite that you invest time in doing this training before, or at least at the same time as you complete your application form. You can do both simultaneously because the system will track your progress for both. You'll have until late September to complete the training and complete and submit the application form. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. If you're successful, you'll be paired with someone with similar interests based on the information provided by you on your application. So please, when you're doing that, be honest and realistic in your answers. Once underway, the mentor and the mentee set the agenda and the pace of the mentoring. Participants might choose to meet via Skype or over the phone. Where mentors and mentees wish to enter into a face-to-face mentoring relationship, we will do our best to match you with someone within close proximity to your location. But remember, we have members across Australia. Your best match might live on the other side of the country, so you should be prepared for electronic communication. All your discussions remain confidential unless one of you is concerned about the well-being of your mentoring partner or the legality of what you're hearing. So we do refer you to the Code of Conduct and the guidelines and ask you to contact the program manager if in doubt. There's no payment for this pilot program and no remuneration for the mentor. If you are meeting in person, you'll share the costs of your coffee and cake. I'll just end that other poll, and that's interesting. Online with us at the moment, 3/4 of our participants are interested in becoming a mentee, and about 1/4 are interested in being a mentor. That's fantastic to know. Thank you. The program is scheduled, as I said, to run for 6 months. This doesn't mean that you have to stop meeting if you both agreed to continue. However, at the 6-month point, AMT will be evaluating the pilot with a survey and reflective feedback from participants. So our timeline sees applications and online training open now. And over the course of the program, you'll participate in webinars, do your mentoring, receive cheery and encouraging emails, do some surveys, and be supported right through to the official close of the program at the end of April next year. Your participation will therefore require some time commitment. And you can see from the slide here that just the initial training and reading, filling out your application forms, being involved in your webinars and your program surveys is going to take a little bit of time. And the majority of your time will be devoted to the preparation and time spent in mentoring conversations and follow-up. We would expect that to be 2 to 3 hours a month on average. So let's say you've done the training, you've completed the application form, and the matching process is done. What if you don't get selected? Now, this could be possible. We will endeavour to match all mentees that apply, provided that we have a suitable mentor and within our number limitations. We've already had great interest shown from potential mentees. All our mentor and mentee applications will not be matched in this pilot, we don't think. But we don't want you to be disappointed about that. Some of our mentors may not be matched if their expertise or experience is not suitable for any applicants at this time. Again, we have a numbers limit for the pilot. Most importantly, if we don't have a suitable match for a mentee or mentor, we won't pair you for the sake of putting you into the pilot program. We would rather wait for the full rollout, and in the meantime, we'd ask you to be patient and supportive as we do want to continue with this program. You can apply again for next year. It doesn't preclude you from taking opportunities for informal mentoring, and it doesn't preclude you from seeking other opportunities for professional growth and development. So these are the key dates. Don't worry about jotting them down. They are published elsewhere. If you know that you're going to be going overseas for 6 weeks, for example, sometime during this period, it would probably be wise to wait for the next intake of mentoring. You'll notice that the webinars are all scheduled for a Monday evening. We're hoping that even if you generally work on Monday evenings, you would be able to reschedule for these dates. They will not exceed 1 hour. They are mandatory, and it's much better to actually participate in them live, although they will be streamed again to our YouTube channel. We know that emergencies do happen. Scheduling work would not be considered as a good reason for not being available, especially when the dates are known so far in advance. So I'm going to ask you another question. This is an interesting one because you have to have been thinking a little bit about what I've been saying. So the question is this: AMT is running a pilot program involving, is it 20 people? Is it 40 pairs of people? Is it 20 pairs of people? Or is the answer we don't quite know yet? I wish I had some music that I could play whilst you're, to give you some encouragement while you're thinking about that. I'll leave that one on as well while you're thinking. So what happens next? You ask yourself some questions. So are you at a point in your career where you could benefit from some help transitioning into your current or your new role? Are you interested in developing yourself or your business capability? Are you looking for greater opportunities? Do you want to build your network? Some of those questions apply whether you want to be a mentor or a mentee. If the answer is yes, and you feel you can commit the time, you're probably ready to do a bit more reading. And there's plenty of reading available for you to do. You've already been provided with a link which will access the mentoring landing page. There's a full, I think it's 6-page information booklet that you can peruse before you actually hit apply. But once you register, you'll be asked for your name and your email address, and that will then give you access to quite a number of other resources as well. Now, I've just ended that poll, and I like the fact that the majority of you have identified that we're aiming to have 20 pairs of mentor and mentee meeting during this pilot program, but we don't quite know yet exactly how many it will be because we're only going to match people who really do match well. So our next steps. When you first log in, you'll go immediately to the application form. And the first question says, have you done the training yet? Don't worry, you don't have to complete the application form immediately. In fact, we would prefer that you didn't. Have a look and then use the home key, so that little house button on the left-hand side there, to get back to your own personal dashboard. You'll also receive a link so that you can log in there as often as you would like. This is what the dashboard looks like. The system will track your progress as you complete the training and the application, and you can pop in and out from any part of the system just by using that home key from wherever you are. You'll see that there are a number of other resources and tutorials to explore from your dashboard, and all the reminders for all the upcoming event dates are easily accessible there as well. So it doesn't matter if you're applying to be a mentee or a mentor. It may be that you need to read a little bit more information, or you might need to complete the training module before you finally decide on your current willingness to commit, and that's absolutely fine. We want you to complete the online training, and if you choose to go ahead, complete the application form. And as I said before, you can move between those quite easily via the dashboard and the home key. You will only be placed in a matching pool when both the training and the application form have been completed. And we can see that from the back end of the software. Get them completed by the 20th of September. Both are done, you'll go into the matching pool. And remember, all these relevant dates are on the mentoring landing page and on your dashboard. You may still have some questions. So, as I said, I've referred you to the information that's on the mentoring landing page and on the information pack. The training resources, once you've registered, are also a great source of further information. You might have a question that is particularly pertinent to yourself, and you might want not to actually publish it, for example, in our chat today. You can email mentoring@amt.org.au at any time, and I think that we'll get back to you very, very quickly to answer any of those questions. We really look forward to monitoring the progress of applications and training in the next couple of weeks, and we look forward to hearing from you as well. We look forward to receiving any email questions that you might have. But I do know that we probably have a couple of minutes to answer any questions that we think might be of interest to everyone at the moment. So I'll ask Rebecca if she's got any good questions that we might get our teeth into in the next couple of minutes.
Thank you so much, Wendy. We have had a few questions along the way, some of which I've answered, but I think it might be useful to reiterate them. The first one I haven't answered, though, and it's a fairly juicy one. It's a question from B. Can we be both a mentor and a mentee?
Technically, yes, you can. And I would say that next year, that's probably a firm possibility. But remember that we've put a couple of sort of parameters on participating in the pilot. And one of them is that to be a mentee, you need to be in the first 3 years of your career. And to be a mentor, we'd really like you to have about 5 years experience. Now, it's a bit tricky to do both of those simultaneously. But we are very, very mindful that good mentors might have a great deal of experience from a previous occupation. I think that for the pilot, we're probably going to say choose one. It's unlikely that we would match you twice as a mentee and a mentor in the pilot program.
And Sam has asked us, will she get reminders about the webinars because she's a bit forgetful? And so
yes, absolutely. Sorry, yes, absolutely. We'll be sending out mentors. We won't be sending out mentors. We'll be sending out reminders. Lots of reminders and lots of encouragement. We'll have email groups that will be provided with information at appropriate times along the journey, and we'll definitely be letting you know when the webinars are on, and we'll be sending you a link as well. So it should be pretty easy.
And the other question we had was in relation to the webinar trainings. I think it's in relation to the webinar trainings anyway. Can you access those trainings while you're overseas? And I just responded and said that, yes, as long as you've got a good internet connection, you can access the webinars from anywhere, but that might just be at a weird time of day.
They might well be. And the other thing I'd probably keep in mind is, and I made that comment earlier in the presentation, you know, if you're planning on being overseas for a lengthy period of time, that could actually get in the way of your ability to meet with your mentor or your mentee as well. And again, you know, we live in a wonderful age where we can, you know, Skype around the world. And that's quite possible to do it if you're prepared for, you know, odd hours. But just be mindful that you know, it could add a layer of complexity to what you're doing.
And the next question we have from Jan is, can we find our own pair of mentor and mentee and still be part of your program?
Not for this pilot, you can't, no. One of the reasons that we're using the resources of Art of Mentoring is because it helps AMT administer the program very, very effectively, and it has some really strong and effective matching capabilities in it, so that if you've had a look at the application form, you'll know that there are quite a number of questions that ask you to identify the areas that you're most interested in exploring with your mentoring partner. You may have a really good idea about who would be a good person to be meeting with, and that may be a very, very good choice on your part. But for this particular pilot, we will be allowing, I suppose, the program to do some of our matching, some of it, not all of it. And you could put a request in if you like. There's a spot in the application form where it asks you for anything else you would like to have considered. So you can certainly pop that in, but we wouldn't guarantee it.
And then Thomas has just asked where the application is, so I've put the link for everybody into the chat section.
Okay, fantastic. So that'll take you to the landing page. Yep, and then you just click on apply. And as I said before, you'll just pop straight into the application form. You can have a look at that. You can fish it. You can go back and change it later if you want to. But we would suggest you just have a look at it and then use the home key, go out and have a look at the other resources, do the training, and then come back and tidy up your application form.
Wendy, that actually leads beautifully into my question when you say tidy up your application form. Then Samantha's commented that she did the application form before the training. If the training changes her perspective, can she go back and change her answers in the application?
Yes, I think she can.
Good, okay.
I know that sounds a little bit vague, but I've been in a couple of times and I've changed my answers a few times, so I imagine that other people can do that too.
Good, excellent. And Beth has just asked what sort of criteria or info will be used to match pairs?
Right. Well, the questions that are around the sorts of things that you're interested in exploring are probably our biggest paradigm that we're using. So we'd really like to make sure that if you're a mentor who has a great depth of business experience, for example, and we have a mentee who is very keen on growing in that area, we would try and match people according to those areas of potential development. But we have put a couple of other keys in as well. So if you would like to meet face-to-face, we'll explore whether that's a feasible option for you, whether there is a suitable mentor who is in close proximity to where you are, and there's a good match. So we wouldn't just say, oh, look, you know, Beck lives down the street from James, so we'll whack them together, because they might have absolutely nothing in common, and it wouldn't be a good mentoring match. So but that is one of the other things that we're looking at. And we're also just mindful that some of the comments that you make in there will also be taken into account. So if you've got any specific preferences or, you know, things that you would prefer not to, you know, to have, or just pop them in the text areas as well. So because we'll be looking at that as well.
And we've just had another very juicy question. It's from James. And this is going to be a tricky one. If we feel that the relationship isn't working, how will we request change? And
very, very easily. Yes, very easily. The very first survey that you receive, I think, has 3 questions in it. And one of those questions is, do you think that this is going to work? And so the program manager will be speaking with you very, very early to ensure that you are comfortable. And then again, in sort of about 6 weeks after you've probably started meeting, the same question will be asked again. There won't be any ill feeling if you feel that this is just not going to work for you. We would not want you to be using your time poorly, let's say. So we can organise for changes partway through the program if we've got another suitable mentor or mentee. And again, all those matching criteria come into play again. But you should not suffer in silence. If there's anything that's confusing you, anything that you're feeling uncomfortable about, if you feel that this isn't really, the conversation isn't really going in the direction that you thought it was going to go, then yes, by all means, we would like you to contact the program manager, and there is a direct link to the program manager from your own dashboard, and so that's very easy to do.
Excellent. Well, Wendy, I think we are fresh out of questions. I think it's time to wrap up.
That's fantastic. Well, just a reminder, everyone, if you do think of a question later, mentoring@amt.org.au, or if you've already got your dashboard set up, you can just click the Contact the Program Manager button and send a message through, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Look, thank you so much again for your time and your interest in this program, and I really look forward to the next 6 months and seeing how this program is of great value to mentors and mentees and to the Association of Massage Therapists. Thanks, everyone.
And before we disconnect, I'd just like to thank you, Wendy, for your presentation. I really enjoyed it, and I think, judging by the comments, it's been of great value to everyone who tuned in.
That's great. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.